Welcome back to our continued adventures on the Let's Defend platform. Obviously, as I am wearing the Let's Defend t-shirt. Today we are tackling the next event in the incident responder path, that being for March 27th, 2023 at 1:34 p.m. or if you like me and prefer the 24-hour clock, 13:34 for SOC180 BianLian Ransomware detected, EventID 130. So let's see. We've got the host name, we have the IP address, we have the EDR action allowed, affected user, and we get some hashes and the L1 note. When I examine the alarm, it has been seen that Jordan tried to go to a torrent site before running the relevant exe. He probably downloaded the malware on his machine while trying to download a game from a torrent site. And then we get the supposed NBA 2K23.zip. Of course, password protected in the industry standard password of infected. So if we extract it, we get the same exact aspect. We have a bin file. And if we take that and submit it to VirusTotal and refresh it to current, we get 51 out of 70 engines detecting this, all as Trojan.BianLian, although threat categories, of course, ransomware. And if we take the hash as generated from VirusTotal from submitting the file, and we look up various instances, we get more or less the same from our standard checks. Hybrid analysis, where it looks like there's a bunch of Twitter aspects in regards to this. But basically reflects that it's bad. We've got 4 public submissions in any.run. Doesn't look like it runs long enough, but if we look close at the desktop here, there is a text file there that looks like look at this or the instructions.txt, which maybe we can get some additional info in terms of any additional files that were dropped, possibly. Nope, doesn't look like it. So what if we just take a look at the actual executable itself underneath here? Oh yeah, geez. 100, say, we'll round it up, 15,000 modified files. I mean, yeah, it seems like that could be ransomware. Pretty good bet that's ransomware. All over the place, but yeah, so it drops the look at this instruction.txt, looks apparently into the recycle bin for all things, into C users admin, C users public. How about on the desktop? C users admin, videos, favorites. Yeah, so it's dropping the instructions everywhere. And are we able to actually take a look and see what the text have said? Oh, look at that. Yes. Wonderful. Your network systems are attacked and encrypted. Contact us in order to restore your data. Don't make any changes in your file structure. Touch no files. Don't try to recover by yourself. That may lead to its complete loss. You have to contact us. To contact us, you have to download Tox Messenger, which is what is it? The IM system over Tor. Then they give us our ID for the particular system in question. We will probably have to get that from actually looking at the system itself. Then they have an alternative way, so reaching out to Onion Mail. Oh, okay. So instead of Tox, that's the message ID of the person you need to reach out to, and then of course, if you email the onionmail.org address, then you've got to supply your own ID that would be from there. 10 days, be posted to the site. Oh, okay, so this is another one of the ones of ransom and extortion. So either you pay, or if you don't, we'll just post it. Okay. And if we take a look at triage for the same exact, I was gonna say IP, but hash. So we get 8 out of 10s all the way around. Ransomware, spyware, stealer, persistence, blah, blah, blah. Same kind of stuff that we would expect. Sets file execution options in the registry. Really? So I'll gather up all these detections and we'll attach them to the video description as per the normal. So set up active components. It registers itself as Google Chrome. Modifies extensions. Yeah, to which we kind of expected. Persistence for auto run. Yeah, so it's pretending to be what, Google Update, if I'm reading that right. Persistence options in the registry. Yeah, so it basically sets. Okay, so instead of Google Update, it will go through and actually kick this off then? Reads user profile data and web. Checks installed software. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we can sit there and mark this as ransomware. Made worse by the fact that EDR allowed it. Yeah. So if we go and pull up the log files, and so what do we have? So FE3 delivery MP Microsoft.com, fe2.update.microsoft.com, pc_games-crack.com/nba-2k23-free-download-torrent1. And then, of course, our NBA plus 2k23.zip. Apparently, Jordan needs to be put in the timeout corner. Jordan's done a bad thing. Jordan needs to be punished. So, we know it's ransomware, so we're going to, before we do anything else, we're going to immediately sit there and request containment so we don't have to worry about an instance of this spreading. Although, hopefully it's not too late. But as I do this, it is mid-May, and this is from March. So, yeah. The whole network's burned. Nuke it! Nuke it all! And obviously, if you look at the browser history, it confirms the same thing we were seeing in the perimeter. Command history. Yep, look at the instructions. Yep, yep. This is bad. This is very, 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 very bad. Although we will have some portions here, so we'll have Explorer, so they kick that off. The executable. The command, I'm sure will go for it, but probably isn't that much of a notable. And then we'll have Notepad. So we got this contained. So realistically, by this point, we would obviously go and have Jordan find a clean machine on the network. And assuming that this had not spread any further, we're going to have Jordan go through and rotate all credentials. We're going to act like this is, within short order of this actually happening. You're going to rotate every password. We're going to have your system quarantined. So you can have some sort of idea as to what credentials might have been saved in your browser or browsers, and you're just going to change everything. And if something got encrypted and it involves you having to work extra late hours to make that back up, I mean, hopefully this person is salary as opposed to hourly, because this is some bullshit. Wait, how far am I into this? Okay, I'm past 10 minutes, so I'm probably okay to sit there and say BS in the full form. Okay, so let's take a look at email. Is there anything during March that would affect Jordan? Got stuff for Gerald. That was the one that we just did. We don't want to delete that. And we go into April, and we don't have anything there. So I'm not seeing anything there in regards to Jordan, so I don't think email's going to have anything for us. But then we have, of course, the perimeter logs. So in the typical fashion, I am just going to go ahead and the keyboard's going nuts. It was acting like the tab was held down. Oh, gotta love it. I mean, you really don't have to. I sure don't. So, we've gone through and looked at this. So rather than keep this running for time, I am going to pause, copy down the portions here in the event I need to refer back to it, which I more than likely will, considering the fact that we have the full URL, the domain, and we could probably do reversing to figure out the IP address in question, so we can just have this site blocked and prevent anybody else from falling into the same trap that Jordan did of wanting apparently to play and download NBA 2K23. So, 1 second as I build this entire thing out for my own records. Okay, that's all put together, and now we can move on to the endpoint. So we start with browser history. This is all relative during the time frame. So apparently Jordan is a extremely big fan of the NBA. I mean, more power to Jordan, but this is not the way to go about doing it. I mean, realistically, I'd probably push for expulsion, firing. But I have also been told that I'm something of a hard ass. So, I mean, simple mistakes, I get that. But this is blatant, putting the organization at risk because you want to find a stupid sports game that, of course, has absolutely nothing to do with your job. As you're telling me that the Let's Defend organization has hired someone to do sports commentary or something else along those lines, although that still wouldn't explain as to why you need the latest NBA 2K game. That doesn't make any sense. And I'm not entirely sure as to how you could make any sort of relevant remark in regards to that. So all I'm doing is jotting down, again, the aspects that fit what we have, which is for the various aspects. We got Notepad, we got Explorer for the processes, and past that point, recording network connections, command history, browser history, just so we have additional points of reference for when Jordan gets pulled in with HR to decide as to, okay, what are we doing with you? But yeah, this is blatant and apparent. So, and we can pull that together from the browsing history. So they did MBA, they wanted to watch it, fine. And then for whatever reason, they're looking at trying to find copies of the PC game, which I don't even know if NBA 2K23 is actually. I thought it was all consoles. You can tell how often I care, or how much I care. But so we've got all this particular portion here, and I don't even really think that we need to start the thing up. But out of an abundance, I think we'll do it anyways, just so we can take a look and see what the list is. Because we may need to go through and make reference to items in the ransom note, like the ID. I mean, we're definitely going to want to see about putting in any sort of monitoring of anybody that goes through and tries to download that TOX messaging client. Because if somebody else gets this, we want to know that somebody else that's not IT security or some combination of IT security, IT legal, and everybody else like that, the incident responders that might be involved, are trying to sit there and message these people. So let's just go and see what we get from that. If we have a hard time with that, I mean, we technically have the recorded portion in there, but we will need, I just realized that that needs to kind of blow up in order to be better visible. So yeah, right there. So we can see about trying to harvest any of the other aspects from this, but I'm willing to bet we're going to want to see about that QTox at github.io and have that on a watch list in the event that somebody else. And then we'd probably want to put the email address in question for the onionmail.org in a watch list as well, just to make sure that we don't have any unauthorized communications going out to these people. Because we want to know. I'd probably put anything in the onionmail.org as like a suspect follow-up, go ahead and flag an alert as possible correspondence with a ransomware actor. But yeah, so I will include the links as usual in the description while we wait for this to go ahead and fire up. And we're already about halfway there. And so what I will more than likely do is just pause this, wait for it to come up, bring it up into another tab, and we'll take a look at the actual system itself. I don't think it's going to take much to verify that the file itself or the files itself on the system are encrypted, but we just want to take a look at the ransom note and just see if there's anything else we can glean. I don't think there will be. Thankfully, the network logging that we have in place apparently looks to be enough to tell the story, and the rest will effectively be up to the incident responders and the IT department to nuke and pave the system, and then probably HR to give Jordan a tongue lashing. So I'll pause this, bring it back up once the system's booted, and we're ready to go from there. Okay, well, this is fun. Let me get the transition going. So the apparent VNC connection aspect failed, but I could RDP into it myself. So what we are presented with on this system is a black background, Windows 10 box apparently. Although I think it's supposed to be server. Don't hold me to that. And then all the files have been renamed with the extension BianLian. But we do end up having the message in question. So we have the whole thing. So now the real question is, can it works. The copy and paste for RDP. So from this particular portion, we have the site in question, the onion. We've got the user ID and everything else. And apparently a little bit of hold up on the system. Oh, it's even got the Sentinel-1 agent. What? That doesn't bode well. It's secure, guys. Oh, I don't hold it against Sentinel-1, not at all. I'm sure the agent was turned off at the time they sat there and ran this stuff, so don't let that be a aspect. Is it, or is it not slot files? Is it just live? Live. Okay, that's fine. I forget sometimes. Okay, I want auto runs. And I want Process Explorer. I think we're gonna have to wait. Or can we just force this to... Yep, okay, no, that's fine. We can force it to sit there and run it as administrator, and then we'll turn on the integration with... Okay, we gotta let that finish. That's fine. Because I want to see as to whether or not if this will pick up the persistence aspects and have those thoroughly detected. But yeah, so, which makes me wonder. Oh, you detected a malicious file, did you? I mean, better late than never, I guess. Or is it the fact that you're complaining about the use of the driver file for Process Explorer? I mean, this should be the latest copy, so. And I think it showed up as Google Chrome, didn't it? Is that particular aspect there? And it's still scanning. So, what did you have a problem with? Because it injected into it? I don't know. Even from this, I still would recommend Sentinel-1 or CrowdStrike. What was the other one? Cyber Reason 2. I've seen fairly good things from that. I'm kind of waiting for a direct, three-way fight between Cyber Reason, CrowdStrike, and Sentinel-1. I'd love to see that go to town. Basically have three systems set up exactly the same and just basically feed them the same exact crap and just see what falls out. Okay, and we're waiting on this to finish doing its thing. Oh yeah, it should be image hijacks, right? Nope, doesn't change it. I'm basically just looking to see as to whether or not if the image file hijacking is in any of the user accounts, because that was denoted from the triage. Although that's not really necessary. I mean, we've kind of confirmed already that this thing is infected. Yep, go ahead. I approve. That's fine. I just want to see as to whether or not if there's anything else that kicks off. And the processor's pegged, which is fine. But yeah, I am not seeing the image file hijacks that I think the triage analysis denoted. Because I think it was all centered around the like Chrome update or Google update. Of course, I guess that's the other question. No, only the Process Explorer. It did not like being injected in. But there's no other aspect in regards to, I mean, unless it's got to be a different user. Yeah, well, we've got the hash for this particular aspect, so we'll have to make sure that this is put in so that the EDR does not allow it. Although, now here's the question. It was underneath the Let's Defend username, so is the download still there? Oh, nice. It cleaned up after itself. The exe in question would be right here. It's gone. All we have is the look at this instruction, so the ransom note. So there's nothing for the Sentinel-1 agent to sit there and mitigate, because it's already too late. So I mean, if this is to be believed, I mean, we had to fire it up, I think. I don't think that it was running at the time. So this would count as us sitting there looking at the machine in question, because we signed in as Let's Defend, and that's the username that this stuff was running underneath. Which would mean that it looks like Jordan disabled Sentinel-1 in order to go through and affect the download of the executable and then go through and let it run. Oh, Jordan. What the hell are you doing? Okay, but effectively we can confirm without, okay, yeah, so it is server 2019. So we can confirm without a question that this system just needs to be nuked and paved, and Jordan needs a talking to as to what in the hell are you doing? I don't suppose that the, oh crap. I don't know what language this is. Michael Jordan wallpaper, okay. There's the games crack. So I'm assuming this is probably history in whatever language this is trying to go through and do. It doesn't look like it's a live domain now. I mean, thank God. But yeah, so I would say we can effectively nuke and pave this. We've got more than enough evidence. We have the ransom note, and we've confirmed that various files are changed with the extension. Excuse me. And I'm assuming that if we go through and just remove the extension, was that it, really? Password you typed is incorrect. Huh. Okay, so I can't extract the file, but so is it all just for like play then? Here's a question. Do we have like just a hex editor in here? Which of course doesn't look like we do. Okay, besides the downloads and all the rest of the crap, what about like pictures? Nothing. Documents? But Office isn't even installed on this, so we wouldn't be able to accurately look at the thing anyways. Try an app on this PC. Can you do it just like try WordPad? Yeah, it looks like, you know, possibly ciphertext. It looks like it kind of starts the same. So yeah, I would say this thing's effectively just screwed. So let's disconnect that and where's my RDP window? Let's get that out. We'll do a transition, although it won't change anything. So we're still there. And we're going to go ahead and terminate. We don't need that open for anything else. And we've got our logs, so we'll go ahead and grab this one. We'll create a case. Start playbook. So, verify. Alarms escalated from Tier 1 to Tier 2 should be caused by a truly harmful event, but escalated alarms by Tier 1 analysts are not always true positives due to technical inadequacy, faulty incomplete analysis, or authorization problems. Please verify that the alarm from Tier 1 analyst was caused by malicious activity. Yeah, I'd say we pretty much verified that. We did the connected machine, determine the type of ransomware. Find any related messages, you can check for these. We did. We have a bunch of renamed doc and docx files on the desktop with that .bianlian extension to them, and WordPad does not seem to be able to open up properly anything that's there. Is there any related message evidence? Yes. Determine texts. So I guess this is a good thing as to why I sat there and copied and pasted that sucker. So I'll just label it as ransom note. Is there any text evidence to identify the ransomware type? So ransomware name. Language appears to be English. Contact email, we have. Payment method. Does it denote that from what we saw? Expecting to be Ethereum or Bitcoin, but I'm not seeing it spelled out. Because effectively this is just to denote you to either go to the Tox Messenger or to send the email to that onionmail.org address to get something else with an ID. Support chat or support page. Well, okay, their site where it's posted, supposedly. Yes. And then analyze. Is there anything there for that? Yeah. Oh. Guess I killed it a little bit too soon. Well, I suppose I can bring it back up and just RDP into it again. And I suppose that will allow me to sit there and verify the state of, once it comes back up, the Sentinel-1 agent as it stands. I mean, was it sitting there running or was it disabled? Because I would have to imagine that this would be resolved, but so let's go ahead and bring up Crypto Sheriff and the ID, and we'll just verify that that stuff actually does come up. Of course, I could probably just download a copy of the file itself. With RDP. Additionally, you may not enter email addresses or hide a ransomware contact if there's no ransomware note. Okay. So they want the encrypted files, but that's fine. So we're getting this spun back up, and we'll just run through that particular step. Usually I just take it at its word since we have the ransom note and we can't open the files. Although it kind of makes me wonder what the hell Jordan was doing with a server operating system without Office, but he has Doc and DocX files on his desktop. But that might be me taking this to the extreme for the scenario. So I'm gonna pause this, pick back up once we're inside the system again. Okay, and we're back up and in. So here's the question. Can I copy said portion? And then I need, see if I can dump it into the certified location. Yes. Sure, we'll do proof of concept and we'll copy that. And that will dump over. Okay. We'll keep that up. So let's revert back. And we're doing ID ransomware. Okay, so they want the ransom note. So I need to go to the secured location for where I dump those files, which is going to be the Let's Defend samples. So they want the ransom note and submit a encrypted file, upload. Which confirms BianLian. BianLian? I don't know. Confirms that particular aspect. So let's do this, and we will repeat said process and navigate to where these files have been pulled, and they want a sample of the infected, which is fine. And then they want, okay, upload the ransom. Okay, sure, we'll do that right there. Go find out. What you got for me? So supposedly there's a decryptor. For Bien. That's odd. That is extremely odd. Because one says that it's not, and then the other one says yes. Ah, so we would need an original copy. But at least for what this is able to found. Windows sounds. Interesting. And we're gonna sit there and try to pull it. So, okay, we could try to run the decryptor, but, oh. Yeah, so I copied and pasted that sucker in there. And just tried to let it run through and do its thing, but failed to crack. So, as it sits, I don't think that this is going to have a happy ending. Is there any useful data? Well, I mean, we got confirmation from here that it's BianLian. Identifying the root cause. Apparently allowing cracked PC sites through the web filter. So what the hell would you call this? So we're back to answering the questions. Drive-by compromise, exploit public-facing application, external remote services, hardware addition, phishing, supply chain compromise, trust relationship, valid accounts. Of course, it says that there's no initial access method, choose none, but yet there is no none. So that's kind of an invalid point to make. Initial access. I mean, what is it when an end user downloads something and runs it on their box because they're apparently suffering from a mental deficiency? It's not hardware addition. I have a hard time saying it would be considered phishing. I don't think it's a supply chain compromise. And there's no none. I mean, typically I would think it would be none, but I don't think it's drive-by compromise because looks like they intentionally searched it out. Unless you're telling me that it was an ad that they clicked on the NBA site, but that I would be a little bit hard-pressed to believe. Although I suppose we could sit there and put it as phishing in terms of not so much for credentials, but hey, in the aspect of social engineering in terms of, you want this game? Hey, we got this big old juicy download button. We'll call it phishing then, I guess. Scope. Okay, did anybody else go to that particular address? And I'm assuming so the 172.16.17.11 is the Jordan host name. So if we are looking for, it would be, looks like destination of 34, 34, 34, 34 from that. So this one here, which is only that box in question. And then for the actual pulling down from files-ld-s3.us-east-2.amazonaws.com for the NBA 2K23 zip file is this one. And again, it is 172.16.17.11 for the Jordan PC. So, is it more than one infected device? Not apparently. Which would kind of verify by looking at the network connections. Outbound, there is nothing inside the private addresses for network connections. Does the device need to be isolated out of an abundance of caution? Yes, and that's already been done. Backup is kind of screwed. Eradication, again, nuke and pave with a known good image. Recovery, sorry, anything on there is effectively gone. Okay, so lessons learned. The fun part. How did the cyber attack happen? Jordan apparently decided to, for whatever reason, on company resources, go look for a copy of the NBA 2K23 supposed game, and pulled down a zip, extracted it, and then ran the executable, I guess expecting to be able to play on his workstation. Well, I guess Jordan could be male or female, right? I think it's spelled the same either which way, so he or she, whatever the case is. How did staff management deal with performing? From the L1 note, I'd say they did well. They identified that, they were hitting what looked to be some sus websites, pulling down a zip and then running the exe. It would have been nice to see a little bit more in terms of grabbing the hash of the file and dumping it into VT and already having those results. But that's more of a formality. You notice that the activity does look strange. So I would say they did well. What corrective actions can prevent similar incidents in the future? Well, mass notification of the accepted use policy that the Let's Defend provided machines are not for use for computer games or the like. If there's a LAN party section, that's the only place where that stuff would be done, and it's all handled by the IT team. You are not to install your own crap. Bigger question would be like, hey, Sentinel-1, how did we have a miss on this? Assuming that the agent, again, wasn't disabled. But if the agent was disabled and by Jordan, then okay, that's more of an aspect. I guess the other aspect would be to make an example out of Jordan. Fire him. And make sure that it's well known to a degree. I guess lawyers would have to be involved to determine, as to giving the reason as to why, as to how much you could actually say without actually creating liable inside the organization. What precursors or indicators should be watched for in the future to detect similar incidents? Notification if endpoint protection agents get turned off. Maybe additional web filtering being turned on in terms of for like video games, um, or pirating would probably be a category that that stuff would kick off with. Torrenting. I mean, granted, we don't. It seems like it just goes kind of skipping the torrent straight to the zip download. I suppose checks for window titles. So to contain combinations like free download and torrent, depending as to how those sites would show up as a potential aspect. Oh goody, we have artifacts now. Well, we have we're gonna have two MD5s. We are gonna have two IP addresses. And we are going to have two URL addresses. So, MD5. That's fine. If we go to downloads, is this file folder? So I don't know if we can trust the zip because it's been encrypted, whereas this, we have it beforehand in my notes. Okay, so let's do this. Let's nuke one of those. Let's go back. We have this. We grab the MD5 of the hash in question. So we're going to do value hash of ransomware exe. And then we get to the other particular aspects that might be less useful. The file download. Then we'll get the full URL in question. URL. And then we will go back one for the PC crack. What directed him to that particular. And so that will be the PC_gamescrack.com. BianLian Ransomware infection from NDA MBA 2K23. Searching for and downloading a cracked copy of. Then proceeding to execute the supposed game, which is really ransomware. True positive, we've got our node in, close it, and we'll see how we do. Apparently that one we got everything. True positive, that needs to be isolated, scope, initial access, categorization, and then the various aspects for the type of ransomware. So initial access must have been right in terms of phishing, more from the social engineering aspect. So there we go. That has been a look at for March 27th, 2023 at 13:34. SOC180 BianLian Ransomware detected, EventID 130. Hopefully this has been entertaining, or at the very least, educational. And with all that being said, I will see everybody in the next video.